Hello, Internet. It is I, Malik Aaron, and welcome back to Box Office Predictions. It took a long time, but it's finally here. Today we are talking about Black Widow, the latest MCU flick. So, as usual, we're going to be going over the pros and cons. So, let's get to it. Pros. Pro number one, it's the MCU. Do I even need to say anything after that? Like the MCU is the biggest and strongest brand in the world. It just is. It's an undisputed fact. It's been that way for over a decade now. All started in 2008 with a little film called Iron Man, and now 20 films, 20 I forgot the exact number. It's over 20 movies plus billions and billions and billions of dollars later we arrived to Black Widow. And, despite the 2 year gap between this movie and the last MCU movie, that being Spider Man Far From Home, the MCU brand is still strong. Like, it's pretty much unkillable at this point in the game. I mean, obviously, there's going to be a time where people stop caring, but I don't think that time is now. Probably will be in a few years, but right now, people are still interested. So yeah, easy pro right there. The MCU, the whole brand as a whole. So that's pro number one. Pro number two, Black Widow as a character. Now, Black Widow, she's been around in the movies since Iron Man 2, which was in 2010. And since then, she's been a prominent figure in the MCU. She was in the Avengers, she was in Winter Soldier, Age of Ultron, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. Endgame, you're going to be hearing Endgame a lot in this video for obvious reasons. If you've seen Endgame, you probably know why I'll talk about it. But yeah, Black Widow, she's a prominent figure. People know who she is. Her character is quite popular. So naturally, I feel like a decent amount of people are going to watch this movie just to see ScarJo be Black Widow, supposedly for one last time, but you never know. I mean, in the comics, they revive characters like almost on a regular basis. So, I mean, if the comics can do it, why can't the movies, right? But at least right now, this seems like to be Scarlett Johansson's last time playing the character, at least in a film, unless she's going to be in a flashback in a future movie. But yeah, pro number two, the character of Black Widow, very popular, has quite a lot of fans. Those fans will probably go out to see this. Pro number three, there's no real competition. This is the only movie coming out this weekend, which makes sense. Why would any movie want to go toe to toe with a Marvel movie at this point? It just, you're basically asking for trouble. F9, I mean, that's been out for like, at this point, 3 weeks. It's pretty much old news. And Black Widow won't have any direct competition until 2 weeks from now with Snake Eyes. I guess I I'm not too hot when it comes to Snake Eyes' box office potential, but we'll talk about that when that movie comes out. But that is like the most direct competition this movie's gonna get. Well, there is the Suicide Squad in August. That's far more direct because that's also a superhero movie. So yeah, but Black Widow won't have to deal with anything significant for quite a while. So yeah, that's an easy pro right there. Another pro, reviews are good. Although from what I've heard from people who've actually watched the movie, they're a bit more iffy about it, like not super hyped about it. I mean, I've seen the movie myself, and I mean, it's not bad or anything. It's just kind of okay. But hey, a lot of people are cool with okay movies, so I don't think it really matters at that point. I think people are only gonna watch this because it's a Marvel movie. So, yeah. I guess that's a pro right there. I guess reviews are good, so they'll likely convince some people to watch it. Uh, anything else I'm missing? Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, at least for the pros. Cons. The easily, in my opinion, the biggest con with this movie is the timing of it. Because if you've seen Avengers Endgame, you know that Black Widow died in that movie. Okay, she's dead. Canonically, she's dead. All right. So making a movie about her right after Endgame feels very weird. It doesn't feel right. It feels off. It just it feels like this. Well, this movie, it takes place after Civil War canonically. So it this movie definitely should have come out a few years ago, like in between Civil War and Infinity War. That would have been the ideal time to release it, right? But releasing it now, it just I don't think that was a good choice. I mean, some people believe this movie should have came out like right after Winter Soldier, which makes sense because people saw Winter Soldier. She played a prominent role in that movie, and a lot of people were like, "Yeah, Black Widow needs a movie, and she needs it now." And with the success of Lucy, which was another Scarlett Johansson action movie that came out that year, people were like, do it now. This is the right time to do it." And they didn't capitalize on it. Marvel didn't capitalize on it. Instead, Black Widow being their first female superhero movie, they chose Captain Marvel, which, in my opinion, was a mistake. But that's the decision they made, and I mean, it worked out for them technically. I mean, Captain Marvel made $1 billion. You can't call that a flop. But yeah, I still believe in my heart Black Widow should have came before Captain Marvel. But what happened happened, and nothing. There's nothing we can do about it. But yeah, that's definitely a con. Is that this movie just feels kind of off overall as a project. This movie should have came out a few years ago. So yeah, that's easy con right there. And also the fact that making this movie right after the character died, it reminds me a whole lot of another superhero, a female superhero movie that's also based off a Marvel character, Elektra. If anyone remembers that, it was the spinoff to Daredevil, the one with Ben Affleck, way back in 2003. Like Elektra died in Daredevil, and then they decided let's make a movie about her next, and that's what they did. The difference being is that Daredevil was bad, and nobody wanted to see any more of that universe, while Endgame was actually good. So people, at least a decent amount of people, are still interested in the universe. But still, two movies are kind of comparable in that way. So yeah, that's just a note right there. Con number two, this whole Disney Plus Premier Access thing that they're doing with this movie. You probably know how the whole thing works right now. If you want to see Black Widow, you can either watch it in a cinema or you can watch it at home or on your phone or whatever for $30. In my humble opinion, actually not even an opinion, this is a straight fact. Don't spend the $30 on this movie. It's I don't understand anyone who does it. I really don't. It's not a smart financial decision at all. Like if let's just say like if you were trying to take your whole family to see Black Widow, then the $30 option would be the best option, right? But if you were by yourself, why would you spend $30 to watch this when you could just spend like 10 or so dollars to watch it in a cinema, right? Like yeah, I don't understand this whole strategy at all. Like, and I really don't understand anyone who actually goes through with this strategy. I mean, look, I'm not gonna, tell you all don't do it. I mean, obviously, it's your money. You can do what you want with it. I'm not gonna just force you to do anything. But yeah, just I really don't get people who would want to spend $30 to watch this at home when you can either go to the cinema or you can just wait a few months and you can get it for free on Disney Plus. You don't have to spend an extra $30 on top of the $8 a month you're spending on it. So, yeah, but some people are probably still going to choose that Disney Plus option, so that might really cut into this movie's box office. I mean, I don't know by how much. I mean, I feel like this movie, it would probably be better watching it in a cinema than on a TV. I don't know anyone who want to watch a Marvel movie on their TV. I mean, sure, they're the Marvel Disney Plus series. You know, your WandaVisions, your Falcon Winter Soldiers, your Lokis. You know what? Mm, let's just call it a con. Disney Plus Premier Access con. All right. What else can I say is a con? Like a serious con. I can't think of a whole lot more that could really affect this movie. Yeah, yeah, I think that's it. So, opening weekend. Mm. Well, the MCU is known for their movies opening quite high on their opening weekends. I mean, look at Endgame. That thing opened to like $357 million in its first 3 days. Right? Biggest of all time by like 100 million. And the last one to do it was Infinity War, which had like $257 million. So, yeah, Marvel is known for dominating everything box office related. Will Black Widow reach those numbers? God, no. You would have to be on bath salts to think Black Widow has a chance to be an Avengers level hit. And not to mention the whole, we're still in the pandemic and there's still going to be some hurdles this movie's going to have to go through. So it's not going to make an extreme amount of money. It'll probably be less than 100 million, but I don't think it's going to do as low as, say, the Ant-Man movies. Okay, I know the Ant-Man movies have fans. I'm one of them. But we got to be real here. Those movies aren't super popular. Okay, they're just not. Ant-Man's a little too niche for a majority of the movie going audience. He just is. Sorry, but it had to be said. I don't think Black Widow will do as badly as that. Actually, let's look at the whole history of the series. Then we have a better understanding of what we're dealing with. Okay. The lowest of all the MCU movies so far is The Incredible Hulk, the second one, with a 55 million opening weekend. Black Widow should easily do better than that. It should do better than that. It should do better than the first Thor, the first Captain America, first Ant-Man, second Ant-Man. I feel it can do like business wise. It can be on par with, say, Thor: The Dark World, or Winter Soldier, or Guardians of the Galaxy, or Doctor Strange. I think that's realistic. I think that's pretty realistic for Black Widow at this point. I'd be surprised if it had 100 million debut. I really would. Not to mention the biggest movie that out of the pandemic movies we've gotten in terms of opening weekend is F9. That opened with 70 million. I think Black Widow should surpass that too. So I'm gonna have a bit of a wide range here. I'm thinking it's gonna open between 80 million and $90 million, somewhere in that range. I wouldn't be surprised if it opened just a bit higher than 90. But 80 to 90 is what I'm comfortable with. That's how I think it's gonna open. And then overall, I don't know about its legs. Marvel movies are known to be a tad front loaded, but I think it can reach over 200 million. I think this will be the biggest pandemic movie yet, domestically at least. I don't know about worldwide, but definitely domestically. It should, you know, do the best out of the pandemic bunch. So yeah, that's it for Black Widow. And that's the only movie coming out this weekend. So you won't be seeing me again till next weekend when we talk about. I know there's Roadrunner. I know there's that. That's like an 800 theaters. I don't think it's super important. I don't think it's going to do much business anyway. It's like the main two we're going to be talking about. I'm not to mention Gunpowder Milkshake. That's on Netflix, so that complicates things. The main two we're going to be talking about next weekend are Escape Room Tournament of Champions, which is just call it Escape Room 2 at that point. And the big one, Space Jam: A New Legacy. That should be a real interesting video because of all the factors surrounding that movie. That should be very interesting. Then the week after that, we got Old and Snake Eyes. And then the week after that, we got Green Knight, Jungle Cruise, and Stillwater. So, yeah, it's an interesting bunch of movies, I'll tell you that. But yeah, anywho, that is it. That is all. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, share the whole drill. Want to check out more videos like this? I got a playlist on the homepage. One of them, all the predictions I made for movies this year, your F9s, your Quiet Place 2s, your Godzilla vs. Kongs, your Boss Baby 2s, Peter Rabbit 2s, Mortal Kombat's, your Demon Slayers, so on and so forth. Pretty much every major movie that's come out this year I've covered. So if you want to watch any of those, and not to mention any of my past prediction videos I made over the past few years, you can. There's also the canceled series where I go over all the movies that were supposed to come out but didn't. Last one I made was like last week about what was it? Last Night in Soho, Downton Abbey 2. Nothing happened this week. I mean, July looks set. I don't think nothing should happen in July or August. Maybe something next year, but yeah, I think this series is kind of dead for now. But if you want to watch any of those past episodes, all 71 of them, that way you're up to date on what's going on with all these movies that you were looking forward to, you can go right ahead. There's also box office recaps where I go over the box office results for any particular month. Just the June recap, so you can want to watch that, go right ahead. July recap will come out first week of August. After the Green Knight, Jungle Cruise, and Stillwater, after they come out, you will see a recap of July. But if you want to watch any of my past recaps, you can, including the most recent one. And yeah, that's it. That's all. I am out. Goodbye.